Pretty widely believed that once the tariff war ends and the market's calm, that last time we had this presidency in office, he's a real estate tycoon, and he understands that rate is wildly important to the real estate market.
They can do things. The government can buy mortgage-backed securities. They've done it in the past where they've gone in and pushed the yields up on mortgage backs and bonds, which push rates down. So there are things that the government can do to affect that.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Burn the Ships, where we have raw conversations about faith, family, growth, and entrepreneurship with a no turning back mindset. We are so happy to have you. And as always, I'm with my boy, my mentor, one of my best friends in the world, Mr. GT. How are you doing today, man?
What's up, man? I'm doing good. I'm excited for today. We're going to talk a little bit about something that you and I know a lot of
our profession, outside of being the next big podcast out there.
Yep. So that's always exciting.
Real estate, by the way, for y'all watching, we're talking real estate today.
Yeah, those things that you're passionate about talking about, and you want to get the word out. So I'm excited for that today. I'm excited that I think maybe after this we might go play a little round of golf.
I'm always
the weather's looking good outside, so we might do that.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a cool 60, nice sunny spring day. Spring has sprung, and I'm happy to be here with you. And for you guys who are just joining us, Garrett has been a lender for 25 plus years. I have been a real estate agent and team leader here in Denver for going on 16 years now. But this podcast is not about real estate. This episode is, but Burn the Ships as a whole is about entrepreneurship, faith, family, God, drive, grit, all of those things. But every once in a while, we do talk a little bit about our profession, about what we know, especially when it comes to real estate, because this is also, growth is a huge part of this.
Right.
And homeownership, in my opinion, whether it be primary residence, investment properties, whatever, is a huge avenue for financial growth.
Yeah, hands down.
So
I think it's one of the biggest. I'm a little biased, but the returns that I've seen my clients make on real estate versus the returns I've seen my clients make on the market, there's no comparison.
Yep.
So also, I think what kind of fueled us to do this today, it's a hot topic right now. The reality of it is it's a hot topic because you just keep hearing about real estate, the market, what's going on, this and that. I get asked all the time. You get asked all the time. So we actually did a little research. We used AI and Chat GPT and basically popped in there, what are the most commonly asked questions around residential real estate,
actually
today.
When I did that, I forgot to put in residential real estate, and I asked what's the most popular question today. 100 people versus a gorilla. This is the trending thing on any social right now.
That is the most asked question right now.
That's the most asked question right now. So who you got? 100 people, one silverback gorilla.
So I consider myself a pretty intelligent person. So that question kind of answers itself. I guess it depends. It depends on the 100 people, right?
That was going to be my answer.
Because I think that if you took 100 softy basement dweller video game, my feelings get hurt every time somebody looks at me crossways, that gorilla would probably tear 100 of those people to pieces. But a normal American man, like all the people that you and I basically know and hang out with and everything, it is no competition.
The people win.
Yes. 100% of the time.
We might have a couple casualties.
Oh yeah, there's some people going to die.
Yeah.
There's some people going to die. People going to lose some limbs.
Yeah.
There's some people that might get their head slapped completely off of their shoulders.
Yep.
But there is zero doubt.
Shoot, I don't think there's a land animal alive that I would take against 100 Garrett Townsends. Maybe a bull elephant.
I was going to say or
a hippo. No. 100 people are taking down
like an 8-foot grizzly.
Kodiak, I don't care. Again, you're going to have casualties.
It's funny. We were talking, Andy Frisella the other day, they were talking about this. And DJ said, he was like, is there an animal? And Andy's like, of course, like a grizzly bear that would take an ape out all day long. And,
yes, true.
And they got in an argument about that.
Oh, 100%. A grizzly bear's destroying.
Yeah, dude,
gorilla.
They have claws that are longer than my fingers, right?
I love gorillas. All due respect.
Yeah.
A grizzly bear is destroying.
I wouldn't want to arm wrestle one.
Hell
or getting a bench press contest one.
Hell
I think
no.
I saw
None
something
of
the
them.
other day. I think Andy was talking about it. And what did he say? Because he was using AI to try to figure out all this stuff. But I think they said that if a gorilla could bench press, if you laid him on his back and bench press, he'd bench press like 1,800 pounds or something.
Yeah.
1,600 pounds or something.
I think it was like 6 times their body weight. You know, a 500-pound gorilla, he's throwing at least 2,000 pounds up, which is crazy. And their bite force is the strongest per pound of like any land animal. So some people are getting messed up, but humans are winning. All right, back to actually what we're talking about. And that's our 10 questions. So we have 10 questions, and Garrett and I talk a lot. That's why we're doing a podcast, is because we love having conversations. We love talking, and this is something we're passionate about. So we're going to try to limit each answer to 5 to 6 minutes or less.
Yeah, or we'll end up
Try
with
to
a 2-hour
rapid fire them, or just think it. Some of these questions we could literally talk about for an episode in and of themselves, and probably will one day. But we just want to rattle these off real quick because they're the 10 hottest questions about real estate in 2025.
In no specific order.
No.
These are in no specific order. We actually put them in the order that we wanted to put them in, just based on how we wanted it to flow for the show. But by the way, guys, please subscribe. We just hit over 2,000 subscribers.
Sure, we're at 2,400.
2,400 subscribers. We've only had 23 episodes. I'm proud of that. I know you're proud of that. And man, share the show.
And comment. We want to have conversations with you guys. So frankly, who do you think is going to win in 100 people versus a gorilla? But honestly, if you have real estate questions, throw them down there too, and maybe we'll put them up on a podcast, or we'll just answer you in the comments, whatever. But our goal for this wasn't just putting out content. It was also having conversations with people. So leave some comments down there. Go back in other videos, watch those, leave comments there, whatever. We just love talking to people.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's go ahead and get started. Number one, we wanted to kick it off with probably, I think, the most common question out there is, what is the current real estate market like?
And that is a question that I always kick back with a question. And I always say, which market? Because in my opinion, there's 6 different markets when you're talking about the market. So you have local and national. And then beneath each of those, you have buyer, seller, investor. So 2 times 3 is 6. You have 6 different markets to talk about. But by and large, over the past 3 years, we have stabilized as a real estate market. And during COVID times, it was a seller's market like we have never seen in the history of our country, at least in my career. But you could throw any house on the market for dang near any price you want, and you'd have people lining the block to come buy it from you. Those days are gone, and it's a good thing those days are gone. We have come to a place where we have a healthy amount of inventory. In Denver, we're sitting at about 55 days on market. So we probably have somewhere around 5 to 6 months of inventory.
Is it average? Is it 55 days right now?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
That is where it should be.
Yeah.
And people have really short-term memories. Everybody sees that and they're like, oh my gosh, houses are sitting forever. Well, when I started in real estate in 2008, average days on market was like 295.
Wow.
So
I don't remember that.
Yeah, no, it was.
I mean,
crazy.
I was in it.
With
I
short
just don't remember.
sales and foreclosures out the wazoo. You couldn't give away houses. People couldn't get loans. It was crazy.
Well, the people that deserve to get loans could get loans.
Right.
All those sign and close loans.
Fog a mirror, get a loan.
Those all went away.
Yeah.
But
So we are in a balanced market, a healthy market. I think it is a tremendous time to buy because with that short-term memory, so many people have decided not to buy based on the rates,
Right.
or even more importantly, have not decided to sell based on the rates because they have the golden handcuffs of, I'm in a 2.5% loan. I'm not walking away from this thing to go get into a 7.5% loan.
Well, there ends up not being any benefit.
Yeah.
If it's the person to say they're moving down, right? I know a lot of people that are like, hey, we want to downsize, but it doesn't make any sense. We'd sell our house and downsize and pay more for our mortgage than we were before. So there's that conundrum, right? But I think people are, I think we're finally getting to that place where even those people, if they're tired of taking care of the big house, the big yard, they want to lock and leave. They want a townhome where they can leave and go travel and things like that. They are willing to just sell, take their profits. If they're going to pay a little bit higher in an interest rate, which may end up being more of a payment or the same payment, but the house suits their needs better than
a lot of people are being forced out of their house based off a situation, death, divorce, too many kids, not enough space, what have you. But there's going to be a tipping point. I'm thinking in the next 8 to 12 months where rates do come down under 6% and we're at say 5.875, and it is going to be maybe not quite what we saw during COVID, but it is going to go back to being another seller's market. It is going to be wild competition. It's going to be multiple offers. It's going to be the whole slew we saw again. And when that happens, people who bought now are going to be refining their loans, sitting in their big, beautiful house, drinking a cup of coffee, relaxing, while everybody who waited is going to be fighting everybody to get homes and pulling their hair out, and they're going to end up paying way more money over the long term because you date the rate, you marry the house, the old adage. They're going to be kicking themselves.
To summarize the current market, it's pretty balanced right now.
Yeah.
You feel?
Yeah.
It's healthy. It's balanced. I can say that the homes that are priced correctly and have had upgrades and things done to them and whatnot, and just basically a very nice home, those homes are getting multiple offers, flying off the shelf, whatever. The 55 days, obviously an average of all.
Yeah.
And so there's also those homes that are sitting for longer that are overpriced. Nothing's been done to them. And the people just think that their houses are worth more. So
yeah, what really drug down the average days on market during COVID, it wasn't the sexy houses that were still going in a weekend. It was the fact that people were settling for the homes that traditionally would sit for 90, 120 days, go through price reductions. People were settling for those and just saying, I'm so sick of fighting, just buy that one. But yeah, you're right. If you have a nice home, professionally marketed, and most importantly, priced right. Still snatched up multiple offer situations today. On to the next one.
Number 2. How do I get pre-approved for a mortgage?
This is your question.
Yeah. So, I mean, guys, this is pretty easy. You want to make sure that you find, with social media, I know there's a lot of us that do a lot of content and whatnot on social media. You can look at reviews, but here's the thing that I would say to stay away from. Stay away from big box banks. I'm going to say that just because you're just another number. Find a mortgage professional like myself that our entire livelihood is based on doing a great job for you. And the only way that you're going to send us referrals is if we do a great job for you. Therefore, you're going to get the best. And look at reviews and stuff. I think reviews are important. And then lean on friends and family and agents and whatnot that have done deals lately, bought homes or whatever, and get a couple of different referrals and then do your research. But
so you find a great mortgage professional, but say I'm first-time home buyer, don't know jack. What are they going to ask me for?
Yeah. So when it comes to the pre-approval, there's two different. Pre-approval is the important thing. There's also pre-qual. So you don't want a pre-qual, and let's just distinguish between the two.
Okay.
A pre-qual is you call me up. Maybe you do a loan app, but I haven't pulled your credit yet because you don't want me to pull your credit. You say, hey, I'm self-employed. Last year I made $130,000. The year before that I made $100,000. I'm not going to verify your tax returns or anything. I'm just going to take your word for it, and I'm going to give you a pre-qual. It doesn't carry a lot of weight. Pre-approval, you do a full loan application with me. We pull your credit. I ask you for your income docs. I ask you for your asset docs. Where's your down payment coming from? I make sure that the credit aligns. I make sure that the $130,000 and the $120,000 that you said you made last year is actually your taxable income, because you're self-employed. 9 times out of 10, I find that their income is very different on self-employed people than what they say. So we always ask for that stuff up front. If you're salaried, it's W-2s, pay stubs, things like that. But I'm going to collect all the documentation that matches up to what you put in the loan app. And as long as everything matches up and your debt to income ratio is in line, which is basically all your debts versus what you make on a monthly basis, it needs to be 45 or less. Sometimes we could push it to 50 if there's, compensating factors or whatever. Yeah, as long as we can stay at 45 or less. But that's what I'm going to ask you for. I'm going to ask you for an app. We're going to pull your credit. We're going to make sure that that's in line with what's needed to qualify. I'm going to make sure your income is what we said it was. I'm going to make sure that your assets are what we said it was. And I'm going to have all that proof. And as soon as I have all that documentation and everything lines up, I'll issue the pre-approval. Typically, the agent will take you out, find a home. When you're ready to make an offer, I'm going to give you a pre-approval certificate based on whatever you're going to offer.
Yeah, easy peasy.
It's that simple. Like, a lot of people make this way harder than it has to be. It's not hard.
2 years bank statements, 2 years tax returns.
That's it.
A lot of people, I think, are scared to even go through the pre-approval process. On one hand, because it might be too difficult. On the other hand, they don't really want to know. A lot of people are scared of their own finances. But credit check, 2 years bank statements, 2 years tax returns. It's not crazy hard.
And I know you get the question that's like, hey, we're not going to be ready to look until the end of the summer. Should we reach out to Garrett now?
10 million% yes.
Yes.
Because not only will you know where you are, there's probably some baby steps between now and the end of summer that will put you in a much better position by the time you're ready to buy.
Yep. I cannot emphasize that enough. When it comes to getting pre-approved to buy, even for a future purchase, get with us sooner than later. I mean, if there is a game plan to put in place to get you into a better position, you're way better off knowing now than deciding you want to buy in August, and we do a loan app in August and we're like, damn, well, we could have done something to clean that credit up or whatever. So,
all right, number 3.
You're going to like this one. How do I choose the right real estate agent?
That is a big one. And that's a tough one, honestly. Yeah, because I always say don't work with a part-time person, no matter if it's your aunt or, your best buddy in high school. Think of real estate. It is 95% of America's biggest financial transaction of their life is their primary residence that they live in. So if it's the most important financial decision that you're going to be making, think of it like having a root canal done or a heart transplant. Do you want a doctor who
does it part-time?
Does a root canal once every 6 months? No, I want the guy that did one this morning and has one after me because he's the best that does it. Yeah. So number one, make sure that they are doing this for a living. This isn't a side gig. This isn't something they started during COVID to get out of the house or away from the kids. Hire somebody who has a proven track record. That being said, just because they have a proven track record doesn't mean they're the best for you. A lot of real estate agents, I believe, have become like a big box lender where you become a number to them. You are one of 295 transactions that their team is going to do this year. They establish no personal connection. Right. And you and I both believe that in this business, because this is the only asset that you're ever going to buy that your children might take their first steps in, that your daughter might get married in your backyard. There is such a personal piece of this. It's not an Amazon stock. It's not putting money in the S&P 500. Find somebody that can do both, that can both be the professional, that can be a negotiating dog when it comes to the finances of it, knows what to look for on inspections, knows the market, but can also be the person who is looking out for you as a human, you as a friend. If you can find somebody that can bridge both of those, you found a rock star. So ask friends who have closed on transactions, Google research, AI research, do all of that, but don't necessarily just hire the first guy you talk to.
Yeah. My opinion on that is obviously make sure that you vet the team. That's one of the biggest things I think that, if you've got a realtor that you talk to and you ask them about their lender and they're like, yeah, I can give you a few names versus the one that says, hey, here's my guy, Garrett. He's the best. He's accountable to me. When I call him, he's going to answer the phone. When you call him, he's going to call you back. We've done so many deals together. We know how each other flows. We know how our teams work. Those things may not seem important, but they are important for the smoothness and how the transaction is going to go. And let's face it, man, buying a house is not fun.
It's not.
Going through the financing part is not always fun. You're having to collect docs and give docs and deal with the stress and all that. But if you have a team that tries to make it fun and can laugh and joke about things and
keep it light, but also being wildly professional.
Right. Wildly professional, setting proper expectations.
And meeting or exceeding those expectations.
Exactly. Honestly, for me, I've always said buying a house typically for most people is a new chapter in their life. It should be fun. But for some reason, I think there's a lot of people in our industry that make it miserable.
Well, there's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of hurry up and wait. You have to rush to find the house, rush to get the offer, and then you're waiting around to see if it gets accepted. Then you rush to get the inspection done and you send over an objection. You wait to hear back from the seller. And you get the appraisal ordered and you wait for that. It builds a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
So having somebody who is always communicating with you.
The communication's that's the biggest of all of it.
Tip top of the mountain is communication.
Yep.
And if I hired somebody to manage $1 million asset of mine, and they weren't calling me back, weren't texting me back, really basic stuff, fired. Gone. Get out of here. So basically what we're saying, you want to hire a professional, but you also want to hire a good person. I do not want to toot my own horn, but I have taken clients from I don't know you to ending up in their wedding, from we've never met before to going to baby showers and bar mitzvahs. Like that is the level of personal connection that I make with my clients.
And that's the way it should be.
And it's gotta be because this is such a personal thing. So find yourself somebody who checks both of those massive boxes. And there's hundreds of small boxes beneath it, but those
are the big
uber
ones.
professional, knows what they're doing and can be a person to you, and you are not a number to them. So
All right, let's go. How much should I save for a down payment? So that's obviously a me question.
Garrett question.
You know, it just depends. I mean, here's the thing. Conventional loan, you can do 3% down. First time home buyer, 3% down. FHA, 3.5% down. And the reality of it is everybody thinks that you have to put 20% down. I mean, there are programs out there that you can even come to the table with less than that with some of the DPA programs, right? Where they literally have down payment assistance. And, you know, it's like $1,000 out of pocket. So again, without trying to figure this stuff out yourself, just start engaging with a mortgage professional. Try to figure it out yourself. You know, the big thing that I see is people, you know, want to put 20% down because they want to avoid MI. Mortgage insurance. Dude, mortgage insurance is so cheap these days. It used to be a more expensive thing. I mean, it used to be. But nowadays, I mean, if you're putting 5% down or maybe even like 10%, mortgage insurance is cheap, man. It's so cheap if you have good credit and whatnot. You know, and then we have programs like ours. We have like Saver 85 where it doesn't change the rate at all. My bank just decided that we're going to have this program called a Saver 85. If you have over a 740 FICO, you can put 15% down and we'll just cover the MI for the other 5%.
Wow.
And it doesn't affect rate. It's not built into any margin or anything. It's the exact same rate as our 30-year fixed or in our Save 85. It's the same thing. So you know,
go back to qualifying for the loan. The first question, if you had a 710 credit score and you got in touch with Garrett ahead of time and he said, okay, hey, pay this card off and that'll rapid rescore you up to a 755. You just saved yourself thousands of dollars over the course of that 5%.
100%. Because what we do as the bank, I know they just pay it up front. They just pay the premium up front. And it usually runs, I mean, because we see it on the CD, and it usually runs anywhere from $1,500 to, I've seen it up to $2,800, and the bank just pays that.
That's awesome.
So by the client, again, like you said in the beginning, paying down a card, do a rescore, they just got free MI. You know, so
by paying off a debt they shouldn't have anyway.
Exactly.
Why on earth would you carry 30% interest rate right now? Crazy.
So to answer the question, as minimum is 3%, but the reality is there's down payment assistant programs out there that will help cover even the 3%. I think the least I've seen out there to date is $1,000 out of pocket. Obviously, you got to qualify for those programs, whatever that means, whether it's income qualifying or whatever. But the days of needing 20% to put down, I mean, it's just way behind us.
That is a myth that has stuck in real estate. I don't know why.
Literally, still to this day, there's people that think they need 20% down.
I sit down with people all the time. Meet them at a coffee shop, meet them in my office. They're like, hey, we've got about 65,000 saved. We want to get up to about 80,000 so that we gets 20%. Just out of curiosity, what is the 20%? Because I expect them to say to avoid mortgage insurance.
No, they're like, don't you need that?
Their response is straight faced, isn't that what I need to qualify? And I want to cry for these people because I'm like, dude, you could have bought a house 5% down 5 years ago.
And right now you'd have $200,000 worth of equity in that house.
Exactly. You don't have to save a tremendous amount. Obviously, if you can, it's probably going to put you in a little bit better position monthly payment wise, but you don't have to save $100,000 to buy a house.
So number 5 is, how do interest rates affect my home buying? Well, obviously it affects your affordability, right?
But now explain that.
Well, I mean, higher interest rate, higher payment.
Which means
is your affordability, right? I mean, like when
if you have a higher payment, it affects your DTI, and that brings your qual down,
and brings your qualification number down. Obviously, if the interest rate's lower, you can qualify for more loan. However, the reality in today's world, and we're seeing it a lot, there's these things called temporary buy downs, and that's why I always tell people, you know, we have to qualify you at the higher rate. But most of those people can qualify at the higher rate, but they just don't want to pay the higher rate.
Right.
And, they don't want their payment there because they're smart and they go, well, I don't want to max out my DTI or whatever. So
we have a client literally right now that we got a beautiful, beautiful home, and we were able to negotiate $17,500 in seller concessions.
Yep.
And we had, when we wrote up that piece of the contract, it said can be used for closing costs and prepaids, and prepaids allows us to use that to prepay the interest.
Yep.
So the seller, for the first year, the seller is literally paying for 1% of their interest for the entire first year.
So the cool thing about that and how that one worked out, because you were able to negotiate so much, which is common today. It is. I mean,
especially like we said, those homes that are sitting around for a month, sellers are getting wild anxiety because they also have short-term memories where, oh God, my house has sat for 3 weeks. What do I do?
Yeah.
You can really negotiate right now. Really negotiate.
Right.
It's been 2 years since I had somebody pay full price.
Yeah, so these people are literally bringing their down payment. We've got enough money to pay their loan cost, all their taxes and prepaids. So all of that stuff, a temporary buy down. And on top of that, we're prepaying their HOAs for a year. So they're literally not paying HOAs for a year. They've got a 1-0 buy down. So their rate's basically 1% less than what market is, paying all their closing costs, all their prepaids, everything.
And what that means for interest rate is for the first year, I'm just going to use wild numbers. Instead of 6.5, they're at 5.5.
Yeah.
And it is a pretty wide expectation that rates will be down closer to that by middle of next year.
Before it adjusts.
We expect it to be in the high to mid fives.
Yep.
So this client will, even though everybody's talking about mid 6 rates, they'll never actually experience a mid 6 rate.
Right. At least I believe that.
Pretty widely believed that once the tariff war ends and the market's calm, that, last time we had this presidency in office, he's a real estate tycoon, and he understands that rate is wildly important to the real estate market.
Yeah, and he knows.
I know that he doesn't set the rate; the Fed does.
Yeah,
but his policies do wildly affect.
But he can do things to push mortgage rates down.
Absolutely,
they can do things. The government can buy mortgage-backed securities. They've done it in the past, where they've gone in and pushed the yields up on mortgage backs and bonds, which push rates down. So there are things that the government can do to affect that.
Absolutely.
So the next question is about as stupid to me as the 100 people and the gorilla question.
I think that's an awesome question. It's fun.
But it's about that dumb to me when somebody says, should I buy or should I rent? It's that dumb to me. And I say it's dumb if you live in Colorado or you live in Austin, you know that's your home, you've got a solid job, you're not going to be bouncing around.
That was going to be my exception.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You got crazy life circuit. If you're a traveling nurse, Kylie and I were at Red Rocks, and we sat next to a couple who was traveling nurses, and they are killing it financially. I gave them my card. They want to circle back and move here eventually, but their contract is up in like a month, and they're going up to Seattle, and they're going to smash it up there. There are situations that renting doesn't make sense for you. For those people,
or it does make sense.
Or it does, excuse me. For those people, if you can't afford it, I would still say you should be a homeowner.
Yeah.
Should
100%.
you own your home you're living in? No, not necessarily. Should you still own a piece of real estate somewhere that somebody is paying off for you in this market?
Especially if you know where you want to end up, like those people. Like if they want to end up in Denver, would it be good for them to buy a piece of real estate now?
100%.
They're killing it financially so they can afford it. And then they bounce around and do all that. And then they have a home to come back to that they're probably going to get with appreciation the way it is. They're probably, if you called it a couple of years, $600,000 home, they're probably going to save themselves $100,000 in the long run on the house itself.
Plus having somebody else pay the mortgage off.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense to me. So should anybody be a renter, unless your name is Grant Cardone, because he is Mr. 10X, he's done wonderfully for himself, but he says home ownership is stupid because he buys the building and then rents the penthouse. Not everybody can do that, Grant. So if you are not him,
so he owns the building and rents the penthouse from himself.
From himself, and then he rents out everything else. That makes no qualms. If you can afford to do that,
I'm sure Chad will gladly sell you a building.
I will happily sell you a building. For 95% of people in the United States, yes, homeownership makes the most sense for you financially.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't mean it's your primary residence, cool. buy yourself an Airbnb somewhere, buy yourself a long-term rental somewhere. And if you are the traveling nurse or somebody who isn't owning for your personal residence, you can cherry pick the market. If it's me and I'm looking to buy a short-term rental right now, I'm not looking in Denver. Denver has really bad short-term lease laws. During the winter, it's a lot harder. I would be looking at places like, Arizona, Scottsdale or Lake of the Ozarks or Lake Havasu, somewhere like that.
Yep.
Or, my business partner, Dane, he was on the episode last time. He has a place in Orlando. And Chris, who started out on our podcast, he has 2 places in Destin.
Yep.
That makes more sense. If you're the traveling nurse who doesn't want to own their primary residence, or if you're in the military or something like that, I still want you to buy a house.
Yeah. And the reality is, guys, again, if you communicate with us, our contact information's everywhere. I literally have spreadsheets that are rent versus own spreadsheets that I can literally lay it out and show you the difference between renting and owning. And it is a no-brainer.
There's no comparison.
Yeah,
it's not even close.
Yeah, it is not.
And speaking of cherry picking the market, you are licensed to lend near everywhere. All 50.
Yeah.
Hit them all.
We are technically licensed in all 50, but there's like 4 out of the 50 states that we will not lend in. They're all.
I was going to say New York is a freaking headache.
But they're all in the Northeast. I want to say Virginia, New York. I forget the other 2, but they're all in that Northeast corner. I know we'll do Maryland because I got a client moving to Maryland right now. I know we'll do that one. But it's 4 in the Northeast up there that we won't lend in.
And me being with Remax is the world's largest real estate entity.
Yeah, they could reach out to you and get a referral anywhere.
I can find you a rock star agent who, like I talked about earlier, is going to be a rock star professional, but also care about you as a human and build that personal relationship. So if you are moving anywhere in the United States or even internationally,
or looking to buy, you want to buy a rental property in Georgia,
right? And I can literally help worldwide. I have agent contacts in Mumbai, in Colombia, in Japan. So literally worldwide, we're in like 140 countries.
All right, number 7. I love this one. What are the best ways to increase home value?
This is one of my favorite questions because every seller that I've ever met with always wants to increase the home value before they sell. Of course. Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Hey, we're going to sell next year. What do we need to do? They meet with you for a consult. We're going to sell next year. What are the top 3 things I can do to increase my value as much as I can when I'm ready to sell next year?
Absolutely easy answer. Number 1 is interior paint. That's the biggest ROI that there is.
No kidding. Just paint.
Interior paint's the number 1 return on investment for cleaning up a house to get it listed.
Wow.
Number 2 is redoing flooring. If you have hardwood floors, get them refinished. If you have carpet, get it replaced. Those are the 2 that I pretty much bar none tell dang near every client to do for a multitude of reasons.
Flooring.
Paint and flooring is essentially like washing the house from the inside out. If you've lived in a house for years, you can take a magic eraser to the walls all you want, but the paint is still, it's going to dull a little bit. Maybe not the most trendy color, has marks, scrapes, some drywall patches that need to be done. If you can repaint the interior of the house and put down new flooring or refinish your current flooring, you're instantly going to have a new house feel and a new house smell. So you don't know it, but every house in America has its own unique smell. If you can put new paint and new carpet, specifically carpet, in a house before going on the market like a week or 2 before, it gives the house a new car smell. And buyers buy with their nose. They do. So if you're
buy with their nose.
Genuinely. If you walk into a house,
I have never heard that.
I have never had somebody get so turned off from my house so quickly than if there's a funky smell. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's, a horrible dog poop covered nasty house.
Yeah.
But if there's a musty odor or frankly, cat pee's the worst, smoke the worst, but genuinely doing those 2 things will remove those 2 smells as well. So if they're there, do those things and you would be amazed at how much better it smells. So paint and carpet are the first 2. And the third one, if the funds are there and I look at the market and the property is wildly unupdated and there has been other properties that have sold that are just done to the nines and we can see that you're going to get a return on it and you're up for the challenge, I say hire an interior designer and take whatever advice they have.
Yeah.
But make sure you look at the numbers to make sure, okay, this is going to cost me.
And usually that would be maybe like bathrooms, kitchens,
that would be
type upgrades.
2 others are definitely kitchen and master bath, maybe a basement finish, but more often than not, you're not going to see an ROI on that.
Yeah.
The first two are pretty much non-negotiable. And the third one is if you really want the project and you essentially want to do a live and flip and you have that there. But even for most properties, that doesn't make sense. Some do. You can make it work, but those first two for sure.
Is it true that like sometimes, I mean, that could end up being like a $20,000-$30,000 job that could end up maybe netting you or whatever, like an extra $100,000?
Yeah, genuinely.
I think about our house, and this isn't me bragging about my house or anything. It's a very humble house. It's just we live in Colorado and we live in a nice area. So houses here are worth a lot more than they are in some places. But I know that there are houses in our neighborhood that people are listing for like $1 million plus, and they don't back to open space like we do. Like if you on the other side of this room, I mean, our windows see nothing but country.
Prairie. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Pronghorn and deer out there all the time.
And Rachel's, pretty much repainted, remodeled just about every inch of this house.
Shout out to Rachel, Garrett's lovely wife, who is an interior designer.
Yeah, and she's amazing. But you look at other, like we have one right here in the cul-de-sac right now that's for sale. Beautiful home. I mean, it's bigger than this home, but it backs to a backyard of another house. And I don't think it's been upgraded at all. And I know they listed it for a little over $1 million, but the chances of them getting that, I'm going to call it right now, 865. You said 875.
Yep. I think that's probably where it lands.
Yep.
When I saw it go on the market for you, I didn't look in the pictures. I just saw the price. Now I was dapping you up. I was like, heck yeah, let's go. Because if that doesn't back open space, yours does.
Yeah, I mean,
you're at least 1112.
Yeah, exactly. No, that'd be great for me. But the reality of it is, if somebody came in there and dumped $50,000 in that house, maybe did the floors, refinished the floors, maybe painted the cabinets, maybe just did some
not even 50. I think 35.
Really,
they're probably getting
an extra
990.
Yeah. It's crazy to me, man.
Yeah. There is one other thing. I am a massive proponent of staging. I don't know if this is one of the questions.
It actually is one of the questions.
Oh shit! I'll save it then.
Yeah, well, it's the next question.
Oh,
perfect.
How do I stage my home to sell quickly? So,
the first thing is check those two things off the box that I said. Get and if you're not going to do those things, minimum have your carpets cleaned and your hardwood floors refinished.
Yep.
But I still really think that you should replace it, including the pad. Don't be cheap. I am such a massive proponent for staging. And I have seen time and time again where people are like, well, I just want my house to be empty. It feels bigger. It feels blah, blah. And there is a piece to that. But if you have moved out of the house, 100 times out of 100, it is going to net you more money to pay the $2,500 to stage it plus $500 a month to hold on to the furniture, give or take, depending on the size of the house, to have a professional come in and really make it look beautiful and feel homey. Now, if you're still living there, because I think that's more who this is talking to, a lot of people always say, I have to depersonalize the home. Right?
You just have to declutter because you got too much shit in your house.
Bingo. If you have pictures of you and your babies up on the wall and it's not wildly overdone, like a whole wall full of like 200 pictures, if it's tastefully done, hell no, leave it. Leave it. Let the people see you. It's fine. But the number one thing is you live in your house, you have a lot of stuff.
It's amazing to me how cluttery people are.
Yeah. Start boxing stuff up.
Yeah.
It's not hard. You have to live a very dumbed down lifestyle, I guess. You got to put the stuff away and make sure the house is clean, empty the trash cans, empty the sink, don't have laundry going, don't take a shower 10 seconds before a showing. You want the house, you don't need to depersonalize the house, but there is a little bit of people don't necessarily want to feel like there's somebody actively living in it. Right. So you can feel a little intrusive. Like if you walk into a master bathroom and like there's water on the shower and the toothbrush is left out, you're like, oh, I'm invading this personal space. And it can make a buyer feel awkward.
Yeah.
So make sure when you leave the house, you leave it as if it's $1 million asset you're trying to sell. Yeah. Leave all the lights on. That's a huge one.
Right.
Open up all the windows, all the blinds. That's what I mean. All the blinds, the shutters. Make sure there's as much natural light coming into the house as possible. And I'd even say leave a scented candle or two out. And that's really it. So make sure this is a big one. Curb appeal, I think, is wildly underappreciated because as the agent is standing there at the front door, fumbling with the keypad, whatever, buyers already looking around. They're taking a look at how well this property is kept. They're taking a look at everything, and they're already making their decision before they've even stepped in the house. So that first impression from the curb, and then the first 10 feet inside the home, because again, they're taking their shoes off, looking around, where am I going? Most buyers have already made their decision.
Yeah, and when you talk about curb appeal, I mean, just
green grass, cut the grass.
Green grass, no weeds, things like that. Because the reality of it is, if I pull up to a house and I go, oh, that's a nice house, and I look around, there's weeds all in the rock beds, and like my house right now, because I haven't even had a chance to de-weed the rock beds, because those seem to grow way faster than the grass does here.
I feel you.
But nevertheless, that would turn me off. I would feel like hey, say hi to Tommy. I would feel like that person doesn't take care of their property.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people will be like, well, the grass looks like crap and there's weeds everywhere. When's the last time they changed their furnace filter?
Yeah,
when's the last time they had their AC cleaned? All these things start coming up.
For sure.
So make sure from the car to the front door and the first 10 feet in are as beautiful as you can have it.
Yep.
If that means you got to mow the grass 3 times a week, do it.
What are the tax implications of selling a home?
This is my least favorite question about real estate. Because
why is that?
Because I hate taxes.
Yeah, well, and you're
Everybody
not a
hates
CPA,
taxes.
and you got to always dance around the fact that,
as a person who kind of works in the financial space, taxes are my least favorite conversation. But so if you are selling your primary residence, I'm not going to speak to investors and 1031 exchanges, because there's a whole
we'll just talk about normal homeowners. I sell this house. What am I going to pay?
Right. So first thing you got to do is you have to figure out what your basis is. And what the basis is your original purchase price plus any closing costs associated with it.
Yep.
So you put that together, there's your basis. And when you take your sales price and you subtract any commissions paid, any closing costs,
or any improvements.
Yeah.
You can do that too.
I was going to get to that. Yep. You can itemize improvements as well. And that capital gain is what you're going to pay taxes on. Now, this is, I think, one of the most outdated, infuriating laws out there. If you have lived in the property for at least 2 of the previous 5 years as a single person, you can write off up to $250,000. If you're married,
tax-free.
Put it in your pocket.
Yep.
Go do whatever you want with it. If you're married, double that number, you get $500,000. What is infuriating about that law is it was written in 1997.
Right.
Average sales price in 1997 was like $120,000. I'm probably not accurate on that. That's just what it feels. That was before my time. Might have been closer to 200.
Averaging just Colorado, Denver metro now is what, 6?
I think
650?
what's right now the conforming loan limit?
The conforming loan limit is 806,500.
Okay.
So like $806,000 is a conforming loan.
Right. So the fact that we want real estate in this country to be the bedrock of the financial world, it really is.
Yeah.
All due respect to the markets and Wall Street, really home ownership is such a driving force when it comes to personal finance and the wealth of Americans. This law needs to be updated.
Yeah.
The fact that it is an almost 30-year-old law where we have seen appreciation like we've never seen before is mind-boggling to me. Yeah. Those numbers need to minimum double. It needs to go to 500 for a single person and $1 million for married. That should have happened 10 years ago. And 10 years since then, we have seen rampant appreciation. So call your senator, call your congressman. Mr. Trump, you are a real estate savant. Please make that change. It needs to happen.
Yeah.
But I also want to say I am not a CPA. I am not a licensed CPA in any way, shape, or form.
And we are not giving tax advice.
Amen. We have to put that disclosure in there. Call a CPA, but that is my understanding of that one individual tax law.
Okay.
So if you have lived there for shorter than 2 years, or you have moved around, whatever, you're not going to be able to write off any of it. And you will have to pay capital gains tax. And that tax rate will be determined whether it's short-term capital gains, long-term capital gains, and
so lastly, I'm moving to Colorado. I'm from, wherever, Austin. Just got a job. I'm moving to Colorado. What are some things that I should look for or consider when buying a home?
This could be
this is it. This could be literally an episode.
This could be a full-blown episode.
Yeah. But let's do our best version of a Cliff Note, which is really tough. But
right.
Yeah.
Before we even look at the house, the first thing you need to do is look at your team. I think that is what we've prefaced it a couple of times, but you need to have a rock star lender. You need to have a rock star agent, and you need to have a rock star inspector.
Yep.
Not your dad. All due respect, I am a dad, and I will be inspecting my kids' property unintentionally as well. But I'm still going to tell them, hire a professional inspector. So make sure you have those three guys, gals lined up, ready to go to bat for you, ready to go to war for you. Now, when you're actually looking at the house, the most important thing to me, bar none, isn't the house and the shutters and the granite kitchen and yada, yada, yada. It's the market around the house. This is a financial decision almost more than it is a personal decision. So you need to know everything you can about the financial aspects of buying a house and
the area,
the comps,
the area, the growth in the area,
your own loan. Knowing the numbers is the most unfun part of buying a house, but it is the most important part of buying a house, right? That is how people get in really bad situations, or people have magical experiences that make them smile from ear to ear and love their team,
right?
Because their team did a great job and they're making all this money off their house and they're not drowning being house rich and cash poor. They love their team. They go back to work with them again, right? So know every number you can about the house. Know your taxes. Know your homeowner's insurance. Know your HOA. Make sure they're not upside down. Special assessments can kick you right between the nuts.
Yeah.
So really make sure the numbers on the house make sense for you, and make sure you're buying in a market, in a neighborhood that you're anticipating growth.
Right. And what about little things like where are you working? How far is the drive from work? What if this area that you're looking at and you're driving to work, the traffic is much worse than this area over here for the same distance of a drive? But you know what I'm saying? Like
knowing traffic flow patterns
how much time do you want to spend in the car? Like what does that flow look like?
Where's your kid's school? How good are
So I think there's a lot of those things, right? That, again, we could make a whole episode, but it's
easily,
and then making sure it checks all the boxes, right? I mean, you want a 2-car garage, I think the first thing as a buyer, when they say what to look for, I think the biggest thing is to be crystal clear on what it is you want, what's important to you. If you don't mind sitting in a car for 45 minutes a day, but it's more important to live in a certain area, that's fine. But if you're like, hey, I don't want to sit in a car more than 15 or 20 minutes a day, you got to take that into consideration, right?
Ask any real estate agent. We will take the pickiest buyer out there who knows exactly what they're looking for than the guy who has no idea what he's looking for. The guy who has no idea what he's looking for is going to take you 10 times as long, even though he might be really relaxed and I kind of like this one. The nonchalant guy, I want the guy who is like a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
Like, I know I have to have a 3-car garage, non-negotiable. I have to have at least an acre of land, non-negotiable. And I have to be in this area. Cool. I'm going to set up a search for you. When those things come on, we're going to be on it like a fat kid on a cupcake. Sorry, it's the only thing I can think of.
I could have thought of a few more, but it wouldn't be appropriate for the show, but that's funny. All right.
So we'll be out there, Johnny, on the spot. All right. So it is much better to know exactly what you want and take some time, hang out on Zillow. Right? I hate Zillow. They're kind of the big bad guy when it comes to real estate agents, but at the same time, even necessarily before contacting anybody, really zero in on what your needs are and what your wants are, and really have that list ironed out. Now, I will say contact people before, because that's always the best place to start. But the more accurate you can be with your person, the better your outcome is going to be.
Yeah.
Now, as far as things you want to look at actually inside the home that a lot of people kind of don't take account for, especially here in Colorado. So I don't know other markets, what physically goes on with homes. Colorado, we have a lot of moving soil. Bentonite is a big issue, so making sure the structure is good. And that also extends to the sewer pipe. So a lot of people don't know that as a homeowner, at least Colorado, you own the sewer pipe from your house to the main in the street. And with moving clays, shifting clays, all that can break.
Yeah.
Roots can get into it. It can be a whole mess. So sewer is very important. Here in Colorado, we have radon gas, which is a heavier than air gas that can cause lung cancer, and it settles in basements traditionally. So having a radon test done, wildly important. And then I think something that's pretty overlooked is also asbestos for properties, not necessarily for the health consequences of it.
What are those properties?
Properties built before 1974.
Okay.
They outlawed 1978 was lead-based paint. 1974, I believe, was asbestos. So it's a lot. It's in popcorn ceilings predominantly, but also some insulations and some other things. So not necessarily for the health consequences of it, because as long as it's not in the air, it's not. I'm not a health expert, but it's not the worst thing. It's really if you're going to do any renovations.
Yeah.
If you're going to be ripping into it, it throws it up in the air, and that's where you can get into a real health mess. Yeah. So if you're buying a house that you think you're going to redo, then you find out there's asbestos everywhere. Well, there's a $50,000 plus bill to do asbestos abatement to rip all that out with guys in hazmat suits.
Right.
So those four are the kind of hidden things. And then making sure your inspector really gives the house a tremendous once over colonoscopy. Look at everything.
Yep.
And make sure the house is sound. Yeah. So there's a lot of different layers to what to look at in a house.
There's
a lot of them.
I mean, we could go into, like, I've literally had people that I know, the husband's coming here to work and he works in a certain place and he'll stay in a hotel right by his work. And I'm like, why don't you stay in a hotel by where you think you want to live?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like, well, you got some guy.
A transplant moving here?
Yeah. You got some guy that literally is working in a tech center and he thinks he wants to live in Parker, but when he comes, he stays in the tech center. I mean, it's like, dude, go stay in a hotel in Parker.
Absolutely.
See what
It'll be a little bit of a headache.
See what the drive's like, right?
But
I mean, there's all those little things that I don't think people think about that you really need to take into consideration because, I mean, I live in Parker. Parker traffic sucks. We've overbuilt with not enough infrastructure and
they're building a lot of road right now. So there's lots of construction going on.
Just a ton of construction, whatnot. I mean, that might be something you take in consideration. So I do feel like we could literally sit here and talk about that all day, but I liked what we did hit on. I think that's important.
Number one, knowing the market, knowing your numbers, knowing your team's amazing. If you start there, knowing the market, knowing your own personal numbers, having a rock star team behind you. The other things, looking at buying a house, the asbestos stuff, the blah, 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 your team should be able to look at that for you.
Yep.
Again, we do this every day.
Yep.
All day long, 365 days a year. I'll take Christmas off, 364. Okay. But literally every other day of the year, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a rock star team behind you that can look for you.
Yeah, for sure.
This is a great podcast, man. We nailed the time.
Yeah,
we got through our 10 questions.
Yeah, got through the 10 questions. I think the answers were, helpful. Hopefully you guys will think that they were helpful. And
now, again, this isn't necessarily.
I could literally sit here and talk about this stuff just because it's what we do.
Oh, of course.
I could talk about it for 6 hours.
This is easy for us. Like I didn't bring any notes. This is what we do. This is what we know.
So guys, reach out, give us your feedback. If you're in the industry, we'd love to have your feedback. If you're thinking about buying whatever, I mean, our contact information's everywhere. So as always,
next time we'll get back to the faith, the grit, the kick you in the ass and get you not being the basement dweller you talked about earlier. That's the stuff we love to talk about too. We have more than one passion in life.
Yeah, for sure. So
hold on. I do want to end every one of our episodes with a little bit of gratitude or shout out to somebody who's killing it in our lives. I didn't even bring this up to you beforehand, so this is just me off the cuff. So I think that it'd be good for our mental and spreading love and everything. So I want to shout out a little bit of gratitude to Dane, to my awesome partner, working with him the last couple of months. We have a lot of really good stuff brewing, and seeing his work ethic and professionalism, it's really, really awesome. And it's just positivity by osmosis.
Yeah.
And so that's been great. And really big shout out to my son, Landon. I'm not going to tear up. So he's on the spectrum and he's autistic, but he is more the savant autism.
Yeah.
But team sports have been a huge struggle for him.
Yep.
Massive struggle. So he's in a gifted and talented program. He loves chess. He loves Legos. Kind of the exact opposite of what I was when I was a boy. I was jumping out of trees and being crazy, but he is very, very intellectual. And we got him into jujitsu 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And first day he left in tears, terrified.
Yeah.
Didn't want to go back. And earlier this week, he graduated from 5-stripe white belt to a gray belt. So
he got a new belt. belt.
Oh man, I was so proud of him. So, and what they do for graduation, he's at Easton Jiu-Jitsu here in Denver, and they do a really cool thing where they go through the whole class. They work on a takedown, a submission. They do takedown to, they call it takedowns, where they're just kind of going until they get the takedown. Then they do live rounds at the end. And during live rounds, the coaches kind of pull everybody who's not graduating off until it's just one-on-one in the middle, and the whole class starts chanting the kid's name, and they put him through a gauntlet where he has to go against like 7 people in a row.
Nice.
And it ends with going against the professor of the jiu-jitsu gym, who's a black belt, badass guy, big beard.
Yeah.
Can tell that he would tear my arm off. And just the look of pride on that kid's face.
Dude, that's awesome.
Man.
That's awesome.
It made me work harder the next day, because I'm like, if my son, who is terrified of this sport, is now embraced it and killing it, can overcome that.
Oh yeah.
Why the hell am I not making my phone calls? Why the hell am I not doing this thing or that thing?
Yeah.
Why am I not it made me work harder in the gym the next day. So I love you, Landon. Huge shout out to you.
Yeah.
Give me some gratitude and give me a shout out.
You know, as always, man, just my business partners, my wife, who's just killing it right now. My
shout out Rach. She's doing awesome.
Yeah.
Hired another person. She's killing it.
And my kids, man. I've got a daughter down in flight school in Arizona. I've got Riley that's technically graduating as a sophomore.
Check out the episode she was on. She was incredible.
She killed it. And my son, who's living the dream, man. He's 13 years old, traveling all around the country playing baseball every weekend.
So I actually talked to Kylie about Boti the other day. So my niece she's down in Orlando right now, and she took 3 days off school to go to a dance competition. My wife was like, who in the world leaves school to go do sports or whatever? And I was like, have you never talked to a travel baseball or travel hockey? I was like, Boti was in Long Beach last week or whatever, and now he's in Scottsdale, and then he's going to Florida. I'm like, this kid's always out of school playing baseball, but he's killing it.
It's like every other week he's like checking out on Thursday and checking back in on Tuesday from school.
Now, how are his grades managing with that?
He's good, man. He's all A's and
him.
B's. He's all A's and B's. You know, the thing is for me, man, you know, you got to have at least a B average whenever the distractions, because for me, it's not about being smart. It's about the discipline to get your work done, right? We don't let things distract us from the work. But the most important thing for me, man, is the things that my kids are, and they're good humans. They're driven. They want to be contributors to society. They
followers of Jesus.
They want to make a difference. They love Jesus more than anything. And that's, to me, that's what's important.
I'm going to do one more. My boys, we took them to see King of Kings. It's an animated movie about the life and death of Jesus. And after, we talked with them about it a lot. And we asked them if they wanted to be baptized. And my 8 and 6-year-old both said yes.
Are they doing it this weekend coming up? Because this is...
Yes.
So the Red Rocks?
At Red Rocks.
Yeah, because that's this weekend.
That's this weekend.
Nice.
No, it's at the end of the month. It's for under 12. I don't think can be baptized at Red Rocks. They are, what's the word? It's not committed. It's not a full-blown baptism.
Okay.
So I can't remember the word that they use.
Okay.
But I think they delay full baptism until 12, because then it's really their decision.
Right.
Not just following what mommy and daddy are suggesting, commitment or something like that.
Okay.
So they're doing that.
Nice.
And I want to say it's the 3rd weekend of May.
Okay.
It is at Park Meadows. I'm going to make sure that you guys are there for
100%. We'll be there.
We'll go get brunch or something.
Yeah. That'll
go
be
play
awesome.
in a park.
Hey guys, share the show.
We want to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Get our comments up.
Yeah. Subscribe.
But definitely subscribe. We're creeping up on 2,600. I really want to be over 3,000 by the end of May.
That'd be awesome.
I think that is very, very doable. So let's get there, and it takes you guys to do it. So hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Just come ride with us. No turning back, baby.
Yeah. Let's go play some golf.